Yesterday, we talked about the idea of being chosen, how Jesus chose his disciples, and whether or not, well, we'd be chosen. Well, the reality is that we are chosen. God has chosen us, and perhaps then we have to think about the other side of chosen, which is willing. Are we willing? Are we willing to do what God has called us? Jesus said this, that many are called, many are chosen, but few are willing. And that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. You know, in Isaiah chapter 6, God is saying, who shall we send? Whom? And a voice comes up and says, send me. Send me, I'll go. I'll go. The question for you and I is not so much are we chosen, but are we willing participants? Or are we willing to do what we have been chosen and called to do? That's the problem. That's the difficulty. There's a saying that I heard years and years ago from a pastor that I served with. God can enable the unable, but not the unwilling. Listen to that again. God can enable the unable, but not the unwilling. And the question of being willing is a big, big question. You see, God sent his Son to die that whosoever would believe would not perish. We're all called to believe. We're all given that opportunity, that choice. But sadly, we're not willing. I talked to a friend of mine today about this whole idea of being willing and stepping out of the boat and the difficulty of that. We want absolutes. We want everything in neat little packages before we say, I will. Marriage is not like that, is it? If you're married and you know that you said, I will, it's been a road of discovery. It's been a road of sometimes bumpy parts, bumpy life. And yet, the choice that entails being willing is part of what keeps us moving, going forward. My question to you, the challenge, is are you willing? Would you think about that today in the context of whom God has called you to be and where he is calling you out of and to? Are you willing? Hey, until next time, God bless.